The story begins with the Demon King launching a brutal invasion on the world. Centuries of war had divided Roindars into light and dark, with humans, elves, and dwarves locked in endless conflict. After a brief, fragile peace, a new Demon King rose to power in 2826, triggering the Great Faith, a devastating holy war that destroyed countless human nations in a matter of months. As humanity crumbled, the remaining races, humans, elves, and dwarves, launched one last desperate counterattack. While the main army fought a losing battle, a special task force was sent behind enemy lines with a single mission: assassinate the Demon King. They had no illusions of survival. They made it. Through storm and fire, the squad infiltrated the heart of the Demon Kingdom. Blades clashed. Spells tore through stone. The Demon King fell at last. His tyranny ended in blood. But this victory came with a price. As the dust cleared, the squad stumbled upon something horrifying. In the heart of the castle, within a prison-like chamber, lay a girl. Chained and bound, she was shrouded in silence. She had the look of one who had been imprisoned for lifetimes. Her eyes, though vacant, seemed to hold a haunting depth, a mystery Kyle couldn't ignore. Saran, upon seeing her, froze. "Leave her. We have no time," Kyle urged. But Saran, transfixed by something only he could see, ordered them to go ahead without him. "We cannot leave her here," Saran said, his voice tinged with something Kyle couldn't place. Without argument, Kyle and Lise fled, knowing they could not waste any more time. They never saw Saran again. On their way out, as the castle began to collapse around them, Kyle and Lise stumbled upon a glowing object, a crimson crystal pulsing with an otherworldly energy. Drawn by an inexplicable instinct, Kyle reached for it, his hand trembling with both fear and curiosity. In an instant, the air above them shimmered. Magic orbs descended, each one crackling with dark power. Kyle managed to block the first two with his sword, but the third struck him dead on. The pain was unbearable. His vision blurred. He was falling. But just as the next blow was about to end his life, Lise stepped in front of him, her hands raised in a protective gesture. She absorbed the blow. In that moment, Lise gave everything she had left. Her body, glowing with ethereal magic, dissolved into dust. Her sacrifice was final. Her final smile, as she faded from existence, would forever haunt Kyle's thoughts. With Lise's last breath, the room fell into an eerie silence. The ground beneath them trembled, and a shadow emerged from the darkened corner. It was a winged demon, far larger and more terrifying than any they had faced before. The demon had been guarding the crimson crystal. Grief-stricken, Kyle charged, his sword drawn. He fought with the desperation of someone who had nothing left to lose. His blade struck true, but the demon didn't flinch. It didn't even move. The demon raised its arms, and a barrage of dark energy formed. Then the unthinkable happened. It unleashed Aim Nation, a forbidden magic that erased everything in its path. Kyle's sword spirit screamed in terror. This magic, it cannot be blocked. With nowhere to run, Kyle steeled himself. With no other options, Kyle did the unthinkable. He poured his life and soul into his sword's gemstone, releasing its full power. The sword spirit, loyal to the end, sacrificed itself alongside Kyle. The blade shone like the sun before piercing the winged demon's heart. Victory, but at what cost? Silence. Kyle stood alone, broken and bloodied. Everyone was gone. His friends, his brother, the woman he loved. His world had ended. Collapsing to his knees, he waited for death to take him. But fate had other plans. Just as his vision began to fade, the crimson crystal pulsed violently. Energy exploded. Time unraveled. Kyle's body dissolved into light. When he opened his eyes, everything had changed. He was lying in his childhood bed. His room, his window, the city beyond, untouched by war. "Kyle, wake up already." The familiar voice rang through the room, filled with playful annoyance. A voice he thought he'd never hear again. Lisa, his childhood friend, burst into the room like a whirlwind of life and color. She was just as he remembered. Wild chestnut hair tied in a lazy ponytail, eyes that sparkled with mischief, and a smile that could light up even the darkest day. She was alive, smiling, whole. Kyle's heart skipped a beat. Without thinking, he leapt from the bed and wrapped his arms around her, holding her like she might vanish at any moment. Lisa froze. "Hey, what are you doing, you weirdo?" Her face turned crimson as she struggled in his grip, trying to wriggle free. Seriously, are you drunk? Sick? You're acting so weird today. But Kyle only tightened the hug, overcome with emotion. He didn't care how it looked. He didn't care if she thought he'd lost his mind. All that mattered was that she was here. They lost balance and tumbled backward onto the bed. A moment passed, quiet, surreal, and perfect. For a brief instant, it truly felt like a dream. Then the sharp pain in his stomach from the earlier blow came rushing back, a stabbing reminder that this wasn't some illusion. This was real. As Lisa stormed off, embarrassed and annoyed, Kyle noticed something under his blanket. The crimson crystal, the same one from the demon castle. Somehow, it had sent him back in time. Everything was clear now. He had returned to the year 2823, 3 years before the fall of Gargan. Hungry and confused, Kyle wandered into the dining room. The warm scent of freshly cooked food wrapped around him like a nostalgic embrace. To his delight, the table was full: breads, roasted meats, vegetables, and even his favorite fruit jam. Lisa had made it all, just like she used to back when mornings were normal and peaceful. He didn't hesitate. He sat down and devoured everything, barely coming up for air between bites. Each taste brought back memories of laughter, of quiet mornings, of a world untouched by war. By the time he finished, not a single crumb was left. Moments later, his older brother, Saran, entered the room, rubbing his eyes and stretching with the confidence of a man expecting breakfast. Instead, he was greeted by a table as empty as his patience. Saran froze mid-step and stared. "You ate all of it." Kyle, mid-sip of the last remaining juice, shrugged and smiled with innocent satisfaction. "It's your birthday today," Saran muttered with a sigh. "Consider it a gift." He turned away, grumbling under his breath. "Could have at least left me a slice of bread." But Kyle's mind was elsewhere. Could time travel really be possible? He turned to the one person who might know: his mother. A renowned archmage, she spent her days in the underground library. He found her surrounded by ancient scrolls. "Mom," he asked, "does time travel magic exist?" She looked at him, surprised but not dismissive. "Yes, but it's forbidden, nearly impossible. The power required is beyond comprehension." "What if it's stored in a magic item?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "Even then, it would take the lives of thousands, maybe millions, to power it." Then she pulled out a worn book. "This," she said, "is the heart of the divine dragon. The only artifact capable of holding that much power." Kyle stared in disbelief. It was the exact crystal he held in his hands. His mother smiled warmly. "You're different today, more mature." He almost told her the truth. Almost. But he knew she wouldn't believe him. Besides, she died in the old timeline. Just seeing her alive was enough. As they left the library, he warned her that there was no food left. She sighed, handed him her meal, and wished him a happy birthday. 2 free meals in a day. Must be a record. Later that evening, Kyle found a quiet hill overlooking the town. Lisa joined him, holding a small gift. "Sorry about this morning," he said. "I had a dream, a bad one. You were in it." Her eyes softened. "I'm glad I was," she said. She handed him a charm, a simple trinket, but made with care. He took her hand. "I won't let that dream come true," he promised. Looking into her eyes, Kyle remembered the day she died. Their village had been the first to fall in the demon invasion. He had watched her fade away in his arms. Not this time. He would save her. That night, Kyle wrote down everything he could remember: battles, names, dates. He thought about telling others. But who would believe a teenager claiming to be from the future? No, he'd have to do this himself. He would train. He would grow stronger. And in 3 years, when the demons returned, he'd be ready. He'd stop the invasion before it began.